Hey guys, welcome back to the channel once again. I am Robert Storms. Some stuff to talk about today. I thought of let's have a good topic to talk about today. What am I going to talk about? And I think a good topic to talk about today is the CW. The CW is better than DCEU at this point. At least I feel so. Right? I personally think so. Just because of because their connective universe makes more sense. So yeah. So we're gonna talk about that, but like always, we talk about what you guys want to talk about here on the channel. First of all, I don't know what's going on with the chat bar next to me, right? Like usually it's white. Today it's black. It's gray. I don't know why. I'm not gonna complain. I kind of like it actually. I think it looks better. I tried to change it back to white. And I think this I can't. I don't know why it won't go back, but I kind of dig it though. I kind of like the way it looks. It looks better. So yeah, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, and first of all, just want to say I finished The Boys, guys. That's why I've been silent for the past 2 days. I was like, I'm gonna put Fire Emblem down. I'm gonna put my Thrawn Treason novel down. I'm not gonna be distracted by. I'm not gonna be distracted by my book. I'm not gonna be distracted by my video game. I'm gonna put both of these down because I was playing Fire Emblem at home, reading Thrawn Treason at work. I put both of them down and I binged The Boys. And I have to tell you, I'll get into it later. I actually want to do a review on that. But I sat down, watched the first episode. I was like at lunch at work. I'm like, man, let me watch this first episode and see what the hell everybody's talking about. So usually I do YouTubing at work during my lunch break, and then I would read my novel. So I was like, well, I have Amazon Prime Video on my phone. I have the app, so let's watch the first episode. Immediately drawn in. And it's a really good show, and I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about with the show at a later time. Maybe I'll do like The Boys live stream discussion. But if you guys have questions about The Boys, you want to talk about The Boys, best thing about our live discussions, guys, we talk about everything here. But let's get to the main topic at hand. Then we can go talk about The Boys and other stuff. The main topic at hand. So Kevin Conroy has officially signed on to be Bruce Wayne, an older Bruce Wayne, in the upcoming Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now we have Burt Ward coming back. He's gonna be playing an older Robin. We have which one did I report on? Black Lightning. He's officially joined a couple days ago. There's rumors that Linda Carter. We know that Brandon Routh come back as Superman, and this is just looking like, to me, this is just looking like what every DC fan dreams of, right? And I'm like, isn't it crazy? I'm sitting there thinking to myself, isn't it crazy that Warner Brothers can get the CW shows right, but they stumble so much on the movie properties? Maybe it's the case of they think too much that they outthink themselves. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, say you're taking a pop quiz and you're not really thinking about the answers and you do really good. But on Friday you have this major test that's going to be like worth 80% of your grade in class, and you just fumble and you fail it, and your teacher's like, well, how could you pass the pop quiz, but I give you the test that has pretty much the same questions and you fail that? Well, it's because you overthink it. Maybe Warner Brothers is overthinking the DCEU because Greg Berlanti knows what's going on. Greg Berlanti knows how to run this superhero universe. He started very small with Arrow. Then he brought in The Flash, which one of my favorite seasons when they introduced Flash into Arrow. And then from there, they kind of spitball a bunch of different things. Originally, Supergirl was going to be her own separate thing, and it was on a completely different network. And then when that got canceled, CW smartly was able to pick her up. And then, even though they're on separate worlds, they were still able to communicate and hold in touch, do with Cisco's stuff, or his gadgets and whatnot. And I always thought they should have done something where when during Flashpoint, they should have merged Kara's universe into the main Arrow universe. They didn't, but it works out well the way they have it. And if they follow Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline right, all these might merge, so they might end up on the same Earth anyway. But I just find it funny how CW can do something and they just spitball these things, something like Legends of Tomorrow, which really should have never worked. And full disclosure, I'm going to be transparent as hell here, guys. I only watched the first season of the Legends of Tomorrow. I'm not a big fan of that show. I'm a big fan of the characters in that show. But the first season I liked. That's when it had like all the characters that I like. We had, Hawkman and Hawkgirl. When they kind of died off, I was like, I really liked Hawkman and Hawkgirl. And then when they died off, I kind of fell off the series. So I'm not a big fan of Legends of Tomorrow, but I do like when they do the crossover. And I like how they bring in Constantine's show into the main universe too. I just like the way they go about connecting these things. And these were all things that started off as standalones, but they were able to connect them. Now, to me, I feel like DC has really dropped the ball on their movie properties, where I felt like they tried so hard at the beginning to connect them all that they lost sight of making good films. Now, Man of Steel is a good film. Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Cut, is a good film. Okay, I'll give that. Theatrical cut sucks wieners, but the Ultimate Cut, Zack Snyder's true vision for that movie, I think is a good film. We got a super chat coming in from Slim Trave, who writes, "Gotta be honest, looking forward to Venom 2. Dude, I don't want to say too much, but that is my main topic for tomorrow's video. Even though when I did a video on Andy Serkis being director for Venom 2, it didn't get that many views, but nonetheless, that's my main topic for tomorrow's video. But yeah, I went from I don't give a shit about Venom 2, because look, I hated Venom 1. I think it is probably one of the worst Marvel movies ever made, right? And I just I don't like it, man. I don't like it at all. But when you tell me that the second one is going to be directed by Andy Serkis, okay, now you got me intrigued, because I think not only is Andy Serkis a motion capture genius, he's the godfather of motion capture, right? Performance capture. Motion capture is much different than performance capture, but he's a genius when it comes to performance capture, right? And we know Carnage is going to be in this film. I want to see him with Woody Harrelson and Tom Hardy. I don't know why I'm stuttering over myself like this. And Tom Hardy. But I want to see Andy Serkis direct Woody Harrelson and Tom Hardy, and I want him to be able to get a better performance out of them. I thought Tom Hardy was okay in Venom, but sometimes he was just too ridiculous. He didn't feel like Eddie Brock to me. He looked like Eddie Brock. Here's the thing, and I'm going to get some shit for this. Topher Grace acted like Eddie Brock. Tom Hardy looked like Eddie Brock, right? I want Eddie Brock to look and act like Eddie Brock, right? I want Tom Hardy to be able to not just look like Eddie Brock, but act like him. I know I'm going to get some shit about that. I know I'm going to get some shit, but I think Topher Grace acted really well as Eddie Brock. He just doesn't look like Eddie Brock. And I just want to see Tom Hardy kind of be able to do that. And I think that Andy Serkis will be able to get a better performance out of him. And hopefully he can kind of dial Woody Harrelson back a little bit. Woody Harrelson is a fantastic actor. But if he is not put in check, he will go straight cartoon character on you. And that post-credit scene for Venom is so cringeworthy, I think I'd rather stick my dick in a light socket and pee on it and electrocute myself than to see that end credit scene again. That end credit scene fucking sucked. When I get out of here, and I will get out of here, there's gonna be carnage. It's so corny, man. It's so corny. It's such a crappy ass line, and to make matters worse, that Bozo the Clown wig was awful. Like, why can't you just... Like, I know Woody Harrelson's losing his hair. I know he's losing his hair, right? But he can still grow it out and then dye it red. right? We don't need to see this Bozo the Clown. Like, if I'm going to, people call me racist because I complain about Starfire's awful wig, right? But no one calls me racist for criticizing Woody Harrelson's awful wig in Venom. Like, they're equally horrible. Equally horrible. For the love of God, get rid of the fucking wigs. Okay, Hollywood, get rid of the fucking wigs. So, yeah, so to answer your question, Slim Fast, Slim Jim. To answer your question, Slim, and thank you for the super chat, my friend. Yeah, I'm getting pretty excited to see it now. Never thought I would, but it just goes to show you what happens when you get a director in there that you actually care about. So back to the main topic at hand. To me, I just feel like Greg Berlanti knows these characters, knows what the fans want, and now there's rumors that Mark Hamill might be appearing as the Joker. Wouldn't that be crazy? I will tell you what would drive me nuts if it, like a good nuts. Like I would be like, oh my God. And I don't think they're gonna do this, but it would be awesome if they did. And that's if they incorporate Huntress from the Birds of Prey series. You guys remember that? You guys remember the Birds? It only went one season. I own it on DVD. But the Birds of Prey series, I believe Ashley Scott I think her name was Ashley Scott, or it might be Nicole Scott. I think it was Ashley Scott. I can't remember. But she played the Huntress. And then Rebecca from Full House played Black Canary. And I'm trying to remember the rest of the characters. You have the Oracle. But, like, I would love to see somehow, like Ashley Scott or whatever don't have to come in and, like, have a huge role. But maybe, like, a flash by scene or something. They just show something from Birds of Prey. Because really, Rex Racer, Mark Hamill's too old to play the Joker. Kevin Conroy is playing Batman. How old do you think the Joker in that universe would be? But, Jesus, man. Fucking dumb, stupid comments, man. That is the dumbest fucking comment I have read all day. And I read a bunch of dumb fucking comments. Jesus, Mark Hamill's too old to play the Joker. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, we got a super chat coming in from Matt1306. I just hope DC treats Supergirl with her movie better than they did Superman. Are you not a fan of Man of Steel? Matt, I'm gonna ask you a question. Just write back in the comments real quick. Are you a fan of Man of Steel? Or wait, I think I know what you mean. Never mind. Basically, what you mean, I could be wrong, so you can answer it back. But I think the way they handled Superman, Yes, Rex. He's playing Bruce Wayne. How old do you think the fucking Joker is in that universe, jackass? He's gonna be about the same age. Too old to play the Joker. Get the fuck out of here. I think you mean the way they basically treated Superman, right? I think that's what you mean. That you hope that the Supergirl movie is better than the way they did Superman. Because they didn't really portray Superman as Superman, right? In the first movie, he's basically new, and he's letting all these people around him die. Then in BVS, he was a punk little bitch. He got punked, right? Then he died. Then he came back, and they gave him like a CGI lip, and then he didn't really do much. But yeah, so I think, Matt, if I'm correct in what you're saying, is you just kind of hope they handle the character better. I think the best way to do a Supergirl movie, in my opinion, this is the way I wanted it, right? I wanted Supergirl to come. That sounded awful. I wanted Supergirl to come. Okay. I want Supergirl to appear. Okay. And, yeah, that's what you meant. Okay, Matt. Awesome. For my way is I would like to see Supergirl appear because we see the empty pod. I want Supergirl to appear, and I want her to kind of like warn, like she's like almost. Because my idea was I want Supergirl to appear, and I want her to kind of have her own movie, but then I want a Man of Steel 2 where Supergirl appears and she warns Superman about Brainiac and him bottling Kandor. And then Brainiac comes to Earth to try to bottle Earth or New York, bottle whatever, and it's up to Superman and Supergirl teaming up. So I would like to see a Supergirl movie, standalone. You can make it standalone. You can have like Rain as the main villain or someone cool like that. You can make you can put Jesse Eisenberg in there as the main villain. It would be awesome. And have that lead up to like the end credit scene, and you just see like Brainiac coming to Earth. And then you do like a Man of Steel 2, and you see where Brainiac's coming, and Kara teams up with Superman to try to take out Brainiac. Much like the comic book it's actually an animated movie, Superman Unbound, which is based off a comic book. And that would be a great storyline I would like. So thank you so much, Matt, for your super chat. And I actually agree. I hope they do handle Supergirl much better than they handle Superman, because they really fumbled the ball with Superman. They basically, they're like the Cleveland Browns of fumbling shit, man. Really, they are. Walter617 comes in with a super chat. What can really save the future of the DCEU? Leadership, man. Leadership. I say this all the time. If you have poor leadership, everything underneath you falls apart. You see this everywhere, right? You see corporations going bankrupt. You see like all this stuff happening because they have poor leadership, and it falls down around them. For an example, I don't know how many people are wrestling fans out there. I don't watch wrestling anymore, but I used to be a huge wrestling fan. WCW had very poor leadership. Everybody at the top of the chain didn't know anything about wrestling, right? All they cared about was ratings and this, and that's all they cared about. They didn't know the first thing about wrestling, so they're trying to tell other people how to run a wrestling business when you have someone who doesn't know anything about wrestling trying to tell you how to run your business. And what happened? They went under, WWE bought them. Okay? Now we're going to use that for DCEU terms. You have a bunch of corporate heads that have to talk to shareholders and all this crap, and they want to try to make Marvel movie or money. That's the key thing for Warner Brothers. They want to make Marvel money. But they don't understand that Marvel didn't make Marvel money at first. Iron Man came out and it made okay money. Captain America, First Avengers, Thor, they came out, they made okay money. Iron Man 2 came out and made a little bit better money. But it was basically Kevin Feige as a leader, knowing where he wanted to go with the storyline, and he had a corporation originally it was Marvel Studio was their own studio, so they had no one telling them what to do. And then when Disney purchased them, they allowed Kevin Feige to continue his game plan because they believed in Kevin Feige's leadership. We don't have that in Warner Brothers. It was like, hey, Zack Snyder, come in, do Man of Steel. Man of Steel came out, did pretty well at the box office. And then they looked over and were like, damn, Avengers made a lot of money. Zack Snyder, we need a Justice League movie. Start piecing all this shit together. And then, boom, what they hurry up and did right out the gate is they did Batman v Superman. Their second film in their universe. They put the two top heroes on their squad in a fight against each other. Then they threw in Wonder Woman. Then they threw in Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg. It was just a clusterfuck. And then, somehow, Zack Snyder made a coherent movie, and then bad leadership said, hey, you need to cut this out, this out, this out, this out. But those are crucial parts of the movie. If you cut that out, the movie doesn't make sense. We don't care, cut it out. Cut it out, guess what? Movie comes out, does okay, doesn't make Avengers money. And what happens? The movie doesn't make no damn sense. Critically panned, fans don't like it. I remember going off. I don't even know if that review's still up on the channel, but I just went off on that movie. And at the time, I blamed Zack Snyder. I was ignorant because I didn't know it wasn't Zack Snyder's fault until I seen the Ultimate Cut. I said, that's a fucking damn good movie. That's a damn good movie. right? I still think it was rushed. I still think they should have done a Batman movie, a Man of Steel 2, a Wonder Woman movie, then do Justice League. But nonetheless, studio wanted Avengers money, so he managed to make a movie that was coherent and I thought was really well done with all these characters, but then they wanted to cut everything out. Then, since they critic backlash and all this shit, they do Justice League. His original script, the Snyder Cut that we all want, right? The studio's like, no, we don't want that no more. But I set it up in Batman v Superman. Like, I have the Omega sign, the flashbacks, and, the Flash come and tell Bruce that Lois is the key. I have all that is set up for the Justice League movie. Well, that's too dark. We can't do that. We need you to change the script. And then they did, and guess what? Zack Snyder got left off the project. They bring in Joss Whedon in, lie and say he's doing a Batgirl movie, but secretly they were just using that as a lie to finish Justice League. Then when Justice League came out and bombed and failed, then Joss Whedon's like, yeah, I can't crack Batgirl. I don't know. I just can't get the script right and left. Really, Joss Whedon, the guy who did Avengers 1 and Avengers 2, the guy responsible for Buffy, Firefly, the guy, he can't crack a Batgirl. They're full of shit, okay? Then, Ben Affleck writes a script for Batman. Everybody loves it. And then, nope, he gets let go. They lie about it at Comic-Con. They make Ben Affleck lie, say, yeah, I would play a monkey in Matt Reeves' movie. Right? And then what happened? A year later, after lying all this time, he goes, yeah, I had a script, but we couldn't get the character right. We couldn't crack it. Again, we couldn't crack it. That's WB's favorite PR move. We couldn't crack it. And then he stepped away. So it's all, this was a huge rant, Walter. And I have other super chats I have to get to, and I didn't mean to go on, but it all comes to leadership. If you have piss poor leadership, it trickles down to everybody else. Poor leadership was what caused this by bad decision making because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. In order to save the future of the DCEU, you have to get someone in there that knows these characters, treats them with respect, and knows how to do movies. And that's not happening, man. Walter Hamada, have we even heard from Walter Hamada in the past year? Right? Like, we keep hearing, like, these different people coming in and out. Oh, well, this person's in charge. This person's in charge. This person's in charge. I haven't even heard Walter Hamada's name in, like, a year. So, yeah, it's neither here nor there. But thank you so much, Walter, for your super chat. Next super chat comes from my boy Danny Graham. Danny Graham. I wonder if Danny Graham likes Teddy Grahams. Do you like Teddy Grahams, Danny Graham? You have to stop thinking Spider-Man Venom. You have to think multiverse Venom. I did, and I can accept Venom as it is. Venom 2 is going to take more. Is going to make more cash. Look. First of all, I can't do that, Danny. Here's the thing. How come you think I dislike Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home? Spider-Man Far From Home I think is better, but I'm not thrilled about the movie. Why do you think I don't like those movies? Because it's not my Spider-Man. It's not the comic book Spider-Man. Yeah, I can say what you're saying and say, yeah, I just gotta look at it as, this multiverse, it's different Spider-Man, but that doesn't make me accept it. It just makes me sad for not getting what I want, right? Yeah, I can sit there and go, yeah, this ain't Eddie Brock, this ain't the one, this ain't Venom who got the symbiote suit in the church and wants to kill Spider-Man and got the This is a different Venom. This is a multiverse Venom. But I can do that. But at the end of the day, it's still a shitty movie. Even if I would take all the baggage out of the movie. See, I can at least say this. As much as I do not like Spider-Man Far From Home or Spider-Man Homecoming, right? As a Spider-Man fan, I do not like those movies. But they are damn well made. They are really well made. As a movie, they are good and they stand on their own. They are solid movies. I don't like them because I don't like what they did with the character, but they are solid movies. Venom, they fucked up the character, but as a movie, it still fucking sucks. It's fucking awful. Okay, let me tell you. Let me explain this. Eddie Brock jumps into a lobster tank in the middle of a restaurant. Eddie Brock jumps into a motherfucking lobster tank, then proceeds to eat a live lobster. Venom then says that stupid line like, I'm going to eat your heart, and then your liver, and then a turd in the wind. And not only, look, I can sit here and say, I can separate, the source material from the movies, right? I can do that. But as a movie, it sucks. It sucks. The dialogue is awful. The directing is awful. The cinematography is awful. Tom Hardy's doing what he can, so the acting ain't awful. But Michelle Williams is wasted. Just the movie in general, as a movie, it fucking sucks, man. So, no, I can't sit there and go, I have to look at it as the multiverse Venom. Okay, I look at it as a multiverse Venom, but it's still fucking garbage. I might not like Spider-Man Homecoming, but if I look, without these fanboy glasses on, and I take these fanboy glasses off, and be like, I'm looking at it just as a film, just as a cinematic film. The script is good. The acting is solid from Tom Holland and Michael Keaton. The special effects look good. The costume design looks good. The script is coherent. The score is fantastic. This is a solid movie. This is about a B+ movie. As a fan, I put my glasses on, and I'm like, that ain't my motherfucking Spider-Man. Venom, I look at it and be like, this ain't my Venom. I take my glasses off, I'm like, as a movie, the script sucked, the special effects sucked, the acting sucked, the score sucks. Everything sucks. So taking the fanboy perspective out of it doesn't change anything. Because at the end of the day, a shitty movie is still a fucking shitty movie. Same thing with Hellboy. Walter comes back in with another super chat. Is Walter Hamada dead or missing in action? I think he's... You want to know my honest opinion? I think secretly he was taken out of his position of power over at the DCEU. Could be 100% wrong. But I know that they were doing this merger, and they were doing this merger with, what was it, AT&T? And since then, I haven't heard anything about Walter Hamada. So maybe they removed him and put someone else in there. Last time I heard, didn't they put like a chicken charge or something? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe they're like, Walter. Maybe they called him in the office. Maybe David P. Dumbass called him in the office like, Walter, you greenlit this Trench movie, man. What the hell is wrong with you? And then they're like, sorry, you gotta go. You gotta go. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Walter Hamada. I think secretly he was moved off DCEU. There's all kinds of rumors going on saying that possibly J.J. Abrams is going to come in and take over the DCEU. J.J. Abrams did sign a giant multi-million-dollar contract with Warner Brothers. So Bad Robot is part of WB, but that doesn't mean he's going to work on DC properties. Like everybody's saying, oh, he's going to do Superman and Green Lantern. No, there's no confirmation on that. They could do shows, they could do all kinds of different things that he can do and be a part of over there. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I don't know where Walter Hamada is, but I definitely think he was secretly removed from the project. Then we got a super chat coming in from Jesse Lopez. Thank you for that super chat so much, Walter. I appreciate it. And thank you, Jesse, for your super chat donation. I appreciate it. If WB would have let Snyder finish his version of Justice League, do you think it would have still flopped? Would people still be divided on BVS? Oh, that's an excellent fucking question. Great question, Jesse Lopez. So here's my thoughts on the Zack Snyder. Let's say we live in Earth 2. Okay? And on Earth 2, let's forget the Earth 2 shit. Let's just say we live in an alternate reality, okay? And in this timeline, Zack Snyder wasn't fired, and he was able to finish his Justice League, right? It's his vision. He didn't have to go back and rewrite or nothing. It's his vision. Would it have still flopped? And would it have divided people? This is 100% the God honest truth, okay? And this is a fact. This first part I'm going to tell you is a fact. Second part is only what I speculate. Fact of the matter is, it would not have flopped. That is a 100% guaranteed fact. Why is it a fact? Well, because Justice League still made a decent amount of money. The reason why Justice League flopped was because WB went back and made Joss Whedon reshoot a lot of that movie. So that was all more money they had to add into the production. So if Zack Snyder was able to complete his original version without the reshoots, without Joss Whedon coming in, then it wouldn't cost more money. The budget would be much lower. So guess what? It would have broke even. It would have made a profit. That is a 100% guaranteed fact. The same thing can happen, the same exact fact for Solo. If Lord and Miller were able to finish their movie for Solo, and Ron Howard did not come in and reshoot 75% of that movie, Solo would have been profitable. Solo would not have flopped. Same thing for Justice League. If Zack Snyder was able to finish his original cut, it would have been successful, and it would have made money at the box office. Would it have made $1 billion? No. But let's say Zack Snyder, how much did that, does anybody know how much Justice League made at the box office just off the top of their head? Let me check this real quick. Just curious, so just bear with me. I want to do this. I'm actually really curious on this myself. I haven't looked at the Justice League box office in forever. Search. Just Ass League. That's what I should have called it, but nah. Okay, so Justice League. Here we go. Okay, so Justice League made worldwide. Man, it didn't make a shitload at all, did it? So Justice League made 657 worldwide. 657 million worldwide. Okay, if Justice League would have came out, if Zack Snyder's vision would have came out, and it didn't have any reshoots, and Joss Whedon didn't do anything in the movie, it was just 100% Zack Snyder's vision, and it still made 657 million, it would have been successful because it would have made a profit. It would have broke even around 500, and it would have been able to make at least 150 million in profit. The problem is, when them going back and doing the reshoots, they had to spend more money to do that. They had to pay Joss Whedon to come in. They had to pay to get all the actors back. They had to pay for production. It was just a huge thing, right? And so whenever you deal with reshoots, when it comes like I'm not talking about like, oh, they went back and did reshoots for Last Jedi. I'm talking about like reshoots, when they do like major reshoots for like something like Solo and Justice League and World War Z. That costs millions of dollars, which makes that production budget so much higher, and that's why it ended up losing money. So the first part of your question is, if Zack Snyder was able to finish it, it would 100% made a profit. The second part of your question is, would people still be divided over it, or be divided over BVS? Yes, because I think Justice League even if it kept Zack Snyder's original vision, I think critics would still give it a rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes. I think critics would still dislike justly because they don't like Zack Snyder's vision. I think fans would be divided. And let's not forget, when BVS came out, those fanboys loved the shit out of it. When everybody was reporting that WB's in trouble with the DCEU, the DCEU's in trouble, all those fanboys fought back and was like, no, DCEU's fine. Everybody's divided now because so many years has passed that they're like, okay, yeah, we give in. Yeah, man, that movie wasn't really good. But even if Zack Snyder was able to keep his original vision, it still would have divided the fans. So, yes, it would have been successful. That is a fact. My speculation is it still would have divided the fans. So thank you so much, Jesse Lopez, for your super chat. Danny Graham, I almost missed your super chat, Danny. I didn't even see you dropping another one. Danny Graham comes in with a super chat. I hear you, bro, but He-Man movie wasn't our He-Man we saw on TV, but you loved it. We will agree to disagree on Venom. Your argument has some merit. First of all, there's a huge difference between Superman wasn't my Superman because or He-Man wasn't my He-Man. Because like I said, even if I take Venom out as not being my Venom, my argument still holds that it's still a bad movie. A bad movie is a bad movie. Because I gave the example, well, Tom Holland's Spider-Man Homecoming, that wasn't my Spider-Man. But I can be objective and say it's still a good movie. Even though I don't like the movie, it's still a well-made movie. Venom is not a well-made movie. As for He-Man, look, is it anything like the cartoon? Absolutely not. But they were also pulling source material from the comics, the cartoon, and let's be honest, that was back when Hollywood was pretty much doing anything just to try to sell toys. But I was also like 5 when that movie came out, so anything with He-Man in it, I was gonna like. You know, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, He-Man. Yeah, but I still say it's not a bad put together movie. I'm gonna get some shit for that. Oh, I'm gonna get so much shit for that. Okay, maybe He-Man's a bad put together movie, but I'm nostalgia about it. Okay, I can still look at He-Man and like some stuff about it, even if I take it out. Like, yes, that's not my Prince Adam. You know, Orko's not in it. You know, and all this stuff. But there's still so much good things about it. The special effects for that time are great, right? The score in the movie is fantastic. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Right, like the I have the power and the da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na. Right, that is still good. The score is fantastic. Do I like the fact that they went to Earth and all that? No, I don't like the fact they went to Earth and all this shit. But I can look at it and see good things about it, right? Like the score is really good. Special effects and the props were really good for the time. I thought Dolph Lundgren did a good job as He-Man. I thought Skeletor, I forgot who fucking Frank something did Skeletor. Amazing, like the standout of the movie, right? So I can look at it as a movie and be like, yes, is it my He-Man? No, but it's a decent movie. You know, it's a decent movie. For example, the new Ninja Turtle, the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles. Not my Ninja Turtles at all. But it still sucks. You know why? Because it's a bad put together movie. The turtles suck, the CGI sucks, the script sucks, the acting sucks. So I think we're on different wavelengths here, man. I get your example, you know, try to take the fandom out, look at it as a movie, and I'm telling you, as a movie, Venom still sucks, right? I can take the fan out of it, it's still a shitty-ass movie. I can take the fan out of Spider-Man Homecoming, because I don't like Spider-Man Homecoming. I feel like it's Iron Man Jr., but I can step back objectively and say, it's still a well-put-together movie. I can't say that with Venom. So, yeah, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that one, my friend. I saw another super chat here. Omar comes in with a super chat. Did you talk about Andy Serkis directing Venom yet? Yeah, dude, we went on like a 20-minute rant about Venom, But I will say this. Well, tomorrow my main topic is going to be Andy Serkis directing Venom. That's my main topic for tomorrow. So I want to talk about that tomorrow. But I went from extremely not looking forward to Venom 2 to I'll go see it tomorrow if it was out tomorrow. I just think Andy Serkis brings some credibility to it. I think he is the master of motion capture, or performance capture, rather. And I think he'll be able to work with Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson and really dial them back and not make them so much of cartoon characters. I just felt like really Woody Harrelson was just like that post-credit scene was awful. Like with the Bozo the Clown wig on and everything, it was just awful. And with Tom Hardy, I thought a lot of times he acted like a cartoon character too. I think Andy Serkis can really dial that back, I hope. And I hope that the special effects looks better than the first movie, because the special effects in Venom were awful. They were garbage. Who the fuck doesn't like the He-Man movie, man? That shit was amazing. All that. Man, I still love that fucking soundtrack, man. Love that fucking soundtrack. Yeah, Danny Grant comes in with another super chat. Are you ready for Star Wars? Man, I kind of had an epiphany, man. I was at work today, and I had a moment where I just kind of stopped, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about the sequel trilogy anymore. I really don't. I still will say I love Force Awakens. I still say I love Last Jedi. But as the sequel trilogy as a whole, I still gotta wait for the third film before I can actually judge it. I just don't understand it, man. It's like I don't understand the purpose of it. Right? I'm sitting there thinking, like, because I started doing research on this Shmi Skywalker at Rey is Shmi theory going around. And I started diving into this theory a lot. And as you guys know, I'm a massive Star Wars fan. I'm caught up to date on all the canon novels. I'm halfway through Thrawn Treason, which is the current novel. And, I'm caught up on everything. And when I seen someone say Rey is Shmi, Rey is Shmi, this theory, Danny, I looked into it and I'm like, this is batshit fucking crazy. But what makes me scared is it's 150% plausible. It is so plausible that I'm afraid it actually is going to happen. And the reason why I'm afraid this is going to happen is because Kevin Smith came out a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and said the last shot of the movie will melt your mind. What the hell could that mean? And then the more I'm looking into this theory, and I'm looking at Kevin Smith's words, and I'm looking back at the theory, and I'm looking back at Kevin Smith's words, I'm like, this would melt my mind. And it would wrap up all three sagas. All three trilogies. It would wrap up the Skywalker saga. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, if Rey is Shmi, I'm going to be pissed. I would be 150% pissed, but it's plausible. It is so plausible. When you look at the comics and you look at the novels and you look at what happened in Rebels with World Between Worlds, it's so plausible that this can happen that I'm scared it's going to happen. And it bothers me. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, what is the purpose of this new trilogy? There is no purpose. This trilogy was made just for money. You know, but that's a discussion for another time. But I gotta be honest with you, I am usually always hyped for Star Wars movies, man. Like I remember when Episode 7, Rogue One, and Episode 8 came out, man. That's all I was thinking about 24/7, man. Who's Shmi? Shmi Skywalker, man. Shmi Skywalker. But when lately I'm just not excited no more. It's like, I can't wait to see episode 9, but I'm not excited. Like, I'm not super excited. It's like, I'm not counting down the days. I'm like, oh man, December's right around the corner, right? That's what I was doing with the other Star Wars movies. And then Solo came out, and then something just changed. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'll go see it. And I think the reason why is because I am so tuned in with what's going on with behind the scenes. And you hear reports of they just didn't have a plan, man. They didn't have a plan. And you can see they didn't have a plan. And it bothers me. It really does. We got another super chat. We're going to take a few more, and I'm going to go ahead and end it for the night. Omar comes in with a super chat. You interested in anything DCEU has left to offer? The only thing I'm interested in, I want to see... I'm afraid of Wonder Woman 1984. I'm afraid they're going to just completely fuck up the first Wonder Woman movie. Shazam I thought was awful. I don't give a shit about a sequel or Black Adam. I kind of want to see Matt Reeves' Batman just to see how Robert Pattinson does. But we're hearing this might not even be a part of the DCEU. I want to see a Man of Steel 2. If they can give me a Man of Steel 2 and a Flashpoint to reboot it, the franchise, then I would be happy, and I would be interested to see what they can do. But right now, this thing is just a mess. If they can somehow get New Gods off the ground, introduce Darkseid as a villain, and then somehow make him the Thanos of the universe, of the DCEU, then I would be interested. But right now, it's just a fucking mess, Omar. It is a fucking mess, man. And I don't know, man. They got a lot of fixing up to do, and it doesn't look like they're doing it. Danny Grant comes in with another super chat. Should have done Jason and the storyline with the twins. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I thought they were doing that, man. I honestly did. I remember after seeing episode 7, I had so many theories going through my head. I was like, oh man, this is what's gonna happen. I was like, Rey is up there. She's talking to Luke. She's got the lightsaber out. In the faraway shot, you see like a tombstone behind Luke. I'm like, that's his wife, man. Fucking Kylo, when he went bad, killed all of his students, killed Mara Jade, and Rey was a little kid, and then Luke sent her off to another planet to protect her from Kylo Ren, so Kylo Ren wouldn't go hunt her down, and then he went into hiding. I had this whole storyline, right? I'm like, it wasn't going to be the twins, it was going to be cousin versus cousin, right? I'm like, it's going to be about fucking Rey versus Kylo, like the two cousins, the two Skywalkers. You know, I had this whole storyline because you look at Force Awakens, when Rey's handing Luke Force Awakens, when Rey's handing Luke the lightsaber, like, Luke has tears in his eyes. He's looking at her and he's just got tears in his eyes. I'm like, man, that's because he saw his daughter for the first time, man. Like, he like, clearly there's a tombstone because there's like these set of rocks, and then there's another like oval-shaped rock standing up, and it looks like a tombstone from. Go back and look at the end of Force Awakens, and look like right behind Luke's legs, right? And they do this thing. And then we get Last Jedi, and I will still defend that movie. I think it's a very well-made movie. You take out the Canto Bight shit, it's a very well-made movie. And then, what did they do? They completely fuck over that damn storyline. It's like, Luke sealed himself off from the Force, which is fine. I get that part. But the clothes he was wearing is clothes that he wears only when he decides to try to set the tree on fire. He was about to set the tree on fire before Rey showed up, and it was this whole thing. You really get more exposition in the novelization, and it's so crazy. But they really went away from the Rey thing. Can you believe we are 2 movies in and we don't know a goddamn thing about Rey? I was sitting there thinking about that today, right? Like, let's look. I really want to do a separate video on this. Let's look at Luke Skywalker. We're going to judge it just on the first movie, okay? In A New Hope, right? We find out Luke Skywalker's a farm boy on Tatooine. He's with his uncle and Aunt Peru. They're moisture farmers. We find out that his father was a Jedi Knight who died in the Clone War, or was in the Clone Wars, and a Sith Lord by the name of Darth Vader betrayed and murdered Anakin Skywalker, and that his father had a lightsaber that he wanted to give to Luke when he was old enough, but his uncle wouldn't allow it. And it was a boy that dreamed of being something more and looking out in space, and he wanted to go to the academy. Look, that's all in the first half of the movie, and we get all this exposition. Now let's look at Rey from Force Awakens. And by the way, I do like these movies, right? Let's look at Rey. She's on Jakku. Her parents left her. She's living by herself ever since. That's it. Force Awakens or Last Jedi. Okay. Now, that's all we get from Rey in the first movie. She was left on Jakku. Her parents left her. That's all we got. In the first half, I told you everything about Luke Skywalker. We know who that character is in that first half of that movie. Then he goes and blows up the Death Star, and then he ends up being something more. Okay? Rey, she starts to unlock Force powers, fine. We still don't know anything about her. Right? In the first half of the movie, we know that Luke's dad was a Jedi. He fought in the Clone Wars. That Obi-Wan's apprentice, before turning evil, was Darth Vader that murdered Anakin. Granted, they elaborate more on the story. Then we find out Darth Vader, something. But we know backstory of these characters. We know where Luke comes from. Rey, we don't know anything about her. We don't know her birthday. We don't know her favorite color. We don't know anything. It's like, she was on Jakku. Her parents left her. Like, okay, all right. That's okay. Last Jedi, they're going to explain more. She's on an island. Luke won't talk to her. She Force Skypes with Kylo. Her parents are nobody. Her parents are filthy junk traders that sold her off for drinking money. Okay. 2 movies, and you still haven't even told us what's going on with this girl. We know almost everything about Luke Skywalker in the first hour of the first movie. We had 2 movies with Rey, and we still don't know jack shit other than she was left on Jakku and her parents are now filthy junk traders. That's it. Okay? Then we get to Empire Strikes Back, and we expand more. We find out that Darth Vader was really Luke's father. That Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker. It expands on the character. Then in Return of the Jedi, we find out that there was twins. In order to save the twins from the Emperor and Vader, they were separated, and it was Leia. So in 2 movies, it kills me. It honestly does. As someone who is a fan of Force Awakens and Last Jedi and have defended it millions of times because I like them, they had no fucking idea what the fuck they were doing with that goddamn trilogy. And it pisses me off. How the fuck did in the first 40 minutes we have all this exposition on who Luke Skywalker is, where he came from, what's his dreams, what's his ambitions. We go to Rey and we don't know a goddamn fucking thing. And it's been 2 goddamn fucking movies. Come the fuck on. And now they want to throw this fucking shit about fucking Shmi Skywalker. Come on. I am one of the biggest Star Wars fans out there. I will defend Last Jedi and Force Awakens with my dying breath. Because I think what people are bitching about isn't what's important. Right? It's just, when you look at Rey, and Rey's the main character, she had no character development. Let's not shit ourselves, guys. The main character of this new trilogy isn't Rey. It's Kylo. Because I can take that same premise, what I did with Luke Skywalker comparing her to Rey, I can take the same premise and compare Luke Skywalker to Kylo, and we have a story then. Then we can look at him and be like, look at Luke Skywalker. First 40 minutes, we find out that his father fought in the Clone Wars. He was a former Jedi Knight. He was murdered by Darth Vader. Look at Kylo. Kylo is the son of Han and Leia. He turned to the dark side. He betrayed Luke Skywalker. He was seduced by Snoke. Han and Leia split up after Ben turned to the dark side. He murdered a bunch of Luke's students. He turned to the evil. We know more about Kylo Ren, like what his struggles were, why he became the way he has, what's his goal. We understand. Let's not shit ourselves. Kylo is the main character of this new fucking trilogy, not Rey. Not Rey. It has been 2 fucking movies. 5, because each movie is about 2.5 hours, right? About 5 hours, And we learn more about Luke in 40 minutes than we know with 5 hours of fucking Rey. That pisses me off. That pisses me off. So, I'm sorry I'm sorry. I had to let that out, man. It's been bothering me. I've been thinking about it for the past few days. I'm like, what is the purpose of this trilogy when we know nothing about your main character? Like, I'm not sitting there saying her dad had to be Luke. I'm not sitting there saying her dad had to be Han. Her parents could have been filthy junk traders. That's fine. I don't care. But she had no character development. Other than her getting off Jakku, joining the Resistance, and trying to learn her Force powers, we don't know what her motivation is. We don't know what she wants in life. We don't understand her way of thinking. We don't understand anything. It's just, she's here, she's strong, she wants Kylo to turn to the light side, he doesn't want to, they fight. That's it. We don't know anything about her. We know what Luke wants. He has an eye for adventure. He wants to go out there, he wants to do more. He wants to be like his father. He wants to be a Jedi Knight like his father. He says it in the throne room in Return of the Jedi. When the Emperor wants him to fight Darth Vader, he's like, no. He throws his lightsaber down. He's like, no, I won't fight him. You failed, Your Highness. I'm a Jedi Knight like my father before me. Jesus God. I am so fucking pissed right now, man. I am just pissing myself off even more. Jesus Christ, man. Oh. Let me get to some of these super chats I seen passing by. Danny Grant comes in. They got to do a Sith movie, Darth Bane, maybe. I think they're going to explore that in the Benioff and Wise trilogy. Danny Graham says, with another super chat, no, George Lucas, bro, they got to get him back. George Lucas had a script and they threw it in the trash, man. They should have kept George Lucas on. Now look, you can say what you want about the prequels. The prequels had a lot of bad things wrong with them, but the story was fantastic. I think they need to bring George Lucas back to do the story, have somebody else write the script, and then someone else direct it. Just have George Lucas there for the story. George Lucas comes up with great stories, right? You look at his story, like George Lucas came up with the story for Empire Return of the Jedi, and then Lawrence Kasdan wrote the scripts, and then Irvin Kershner did Empire Strikes Back. He directed it, and it came out amazing. George Lucas is a genius when it comes to storytelling. He just sucks at writing scripts and directing movies. So they need to bring him back. They should have took his script for Episode 7, then let Lawrence Kasdan and J.J. Abrams take his script and revise it a little bit to make it a better script, a cleaner script, and then film that movie. They have no idea what the fuck they're doing, man. They don't. Matt came in with a super chat. Rey's identity is a mystery for the whole trilogy. I understand the Rey's identity is a mystery. I understand that. But there's no character development. Guess what? Finn, his identity is pretty much a mystery too. We don't know who his parents are. We don't know where Finn came from. But we know what Finn wants. We know we had character development. This was a guy who was kidnapped as a child, trained to be an Imperial soldier, and when they told him to slaughter innocent people, he said no, and he backed off. And he's scared, and he wants to run from the Order. He wants to run from the First Order, and he finds Rey, and he cares about her, and he wants to protect her, and everything he does is to protect her. And then in The Last Jedi, people say he doesn't have character development. I think he has a lot of character development, because then he realizes that there's something worth living for, and that he's willing to fight for the Resistance. This is a guy who wanted to run away. He wants to fight for the Resistance. What can we say about Rey? We can't say anything about Rey, honestly. And this is the character that loves Rey. I have 2 Last Jedi posters, movie-sized posters, framed and hang in my living room. I had a cardboard cutout of Rey. I gave it to Adam when I moved. I have it, right? I'm a massive fan of both Force Awakens and Last Jedi. But come on, man. We can't sit there and say that they haven't fumbled the character. This trilogy is about Ben Solo. Let's not shit us. This trilogy is about Ben Solo. The first one was setting up Ben Solo, giving us exposition on who Ben Solo is, why he's doing what he wants. The second movie was about Rey trying to redeem Ben Solo, and then we find out that he's too far gone. It's about let the past die, kill it if you have to. It's awful, man. It's awful. We seriously need to do a whole Star Wars live stream. Maybe tomorrow night. We can do a whole thing about it. But yeah, I gotta start calling tonight. I gotta get up at like 5 in the morning. I gotta take Om to work. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to end it for tonight, guys. But great discussion. Thank you all so much for the super chats. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I love you. Love the Star Wars questions. By all means, if you guys ever want to ask Star Wars questions, ask Star Wars questions. I love them. But I got to get going. So, Jesse Lopez just threw in another one. Will we ever know who Snoke really is? Yeah, definitely. That's not one of the things that bothers me. Because you go back and look at the original trilogy, we didn't know who the fuck the Emperor was. They mentioned the Emperor once in A New Hope. Then we see him for like a few minutes in Return of the Jedi, and he's thrown down a shaft. So people's arguments with Snoke isn't irrelevant. To me, that's not the argument. The Rey argument is the argument everybody needs to be having, not who Snoke is. That's irrelevant. We'll find out eventually. It took 30 years before we found out who the fuck Palpatine really was. So, yeah, or not 30 years, but 20 years. From the 70s to 99, it took about 20-something years to find out who Palpatine really was. So, yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you so much, Jesse Lopez, for that super chat. I'm going to call it a night. We will stream again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do a Star Wars topic since we are going heavily into Star Wars. And I will try to calm my blood pressure down. So, until tomorrow, guys, as always, I'm Robert Storms. And that's my opinion. Good night, everybody.